we might be witnessing another perfect marriage like we had with Snyder and Pete Carroll. We got this defensive minded coach. Pete Carroll was a defensive minded coach. Paired up with John Snyder, with a fresh look, right? Now, maybe I was very much against the exit of Pete Carroll, but here we have again. Is it rinse and repeat?
Welcome, everybody, to the Seattle Sports Union podcast. My name is Abraham Luis. I'm back again with the Southwest Seahawk, Rob English. Rob, we just witnessed a game that a lot of people have a lot of things to say about. I'll just put it that way. Some think that it was a sloppy game. Some think that it was a perfect game. Some think that the Seahawks took the foot off the gas, which is where I kind of am. I got myself super concerned. I texted you and some others that, like, beware at halftime. I know we were up, 20 to 3, maybe something to that effect. And I'm like, don't let the foot off the gas. And I feel like that's what happened.
It's always going to give that feeling, right? When you're up big and then the game ends up close. The spread in this game was what we talk about, 13 and a hook, right? So it was you kind of wanted that blowout game. I think I did mention during our back and forth over text that I almost called the score. We were at the score that I called for a moment. We were real close to it anyway.
And
Listen, they came out. Obviously, you're gonna change your game plan a little bit as the game gets long, especially when you're playing with a big lead. And on offense, that Tennessee quarterback, I mean, he did play well.
Cam
All
Ward,
things
yeah.
considered. And you can't take anything away from him. I mean, they were right there with us yardage wise in the passing game. I wonder why we were unable to stop them so many times on fourth down. Like, we just couldn't get off the field, it seemed. But we made the stops when it counted. That was to win the game. I would have liked to not see it go to a onside kick. You know what I mean? On the game that we looked a game that looked like it was so well in hand to end up having an onside kick at the end. It's like, gosh, it kind of ruins it. But
Mhm.
I don't know. Taking the foot off the gas, sure, you can say that, but garbage time is always garbage time.
So I kind of wonder about that. You're talking about fourth downs against the Rams. Mega amazing fourth and goal, stands a couple times. Fourth and short yardage was really good. It just seems like those fourth and like 3 or 4 yards, that's where we haven't been able to stop everybody.
Yeah, and I guess that plays into, just football X's and O's, right? When it's fourth and very short, you're probably not going to throw it, so you throw your best, short yardage run stop, option at them. But when you get to those fourth and, almost mediums, pass or run they're both on the table, right? So it's kind of hard to guard against both in those situations, because you don't want to, if you do play the run, you don't want to play it too hard against say for the pass. If you do play the pass, you don't want to play that short pass too much, give up something over the top, And so it's a rough spot to be in, and we definitely did not do a good job. I think they ended up finishing 5 for 7 on fourth down, which is outrageous.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope we can. We it's not even so much about doing better on fourth down. It's about forcing fourth down situations that aren't, appealing to go for. You know what I mean? So
That's a good point, because you get them into fourth down situations that they have to go for because they're down by so much.
right, sure, and but if it's fourth and 7, even when you're down big, if it's like third quarter, you're probably not going to go for it, depending on where you are on the field. But if it's fourth and 2 and you haven't done much on offense all game, regardless of where you're at in the game, you might go for it because you do need some points. So forcing fourth and longer than short is going to be important, especially when we get into the playoffs, going up against teams like the Rams. If we end up seeing guys like Philadelphia, assuming we get there, we're going to need to be able to force their fourth downs to be longer because they love going forward on fourth down.
Yeah.
And they're really good at it.
So a question for you, as I look at the stat line for Sam Darnold, 1626, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a quarterback rating of 118. Any other team, even any other era of Seahawks football, you would just like foam with the mouth and just be like, oh my God, look at this. Seems kind of ordinary, doesn't it?
Yeah, it seems regular. We're used to seeing it. We're used to seeing it, and I mean, it's amazing how it actually it calls to, how quickly we change with the tide, right? It's to your point, this is Christmas Day every day when we were looking at these numbers in a
Yeah.
previous time in Seahawk football. Now it's expected. and we got to remember Sam Darnold up until that 4 interception game against the Rams a couple weeks ago, or a little more than a week ago now, they were talking about him as an MVP. He was in the conversation. Those 4 picks, though, really just he's not even in the top 5 anymore. But yeah, no, it's great to see these numbers consistent and no turnovers, only 1 sack on the day. That's high. That's high level football, and that's the kind of football you got to play to win games when it gets tough.
So, yeah. So we talked about that on Saturday for our pregame show. And, how does he bounce back? He bounced back amazingly, but I don't hear people saying it at all. Like that, I just read the stat line. That's amazing. But when it comes to like the conversation about Sam Darnold, that's a ho hum, but what did he do against the Rams
Right.
conversation?
Exactly. It's always that, sometimes you say it's what have you done for me lately? And lately he did that. But
Yeah.
in Sam Darnold, they're gonna hold him to the last time he went out there with an shucks, right? They're gonna hold him to that because, whenever you have a quarterback who plays well, in this stretch, but when it gets to those big games, it doesn't show up, for whatever reason, whether it's his fault or not. If you just don't win the game, even quarterbacks that go out there and have a great game, if you don't win, it's like the stat line is almost insignificant, right? So yeah, no one's going to talk about Sam Darnold unless for probably up until unless in one of these next 3 games, that we have coming up, he goes out there and throws. If he throws like 400 yards and no picks and 3 touchdowns in one of these games, okay, they'll start talking about him again. But other than that, it won't be unless we can get all the way to I think it's 3 or 4 weeks from now, back against the Rams in Seattle, and go out there and beat that team. Then they'll start talking about Sam Darnold again the way they should.
It's a strange thing. Winning big games seems to matter more than all the body of work that you do. Because I'll throw this at people out there. Matt Stafford last week, 150-ish yards. He looked awful. But his team got the win. Therefore, he is the greatest of all time. And Darnold lost. And yeah, it's strange how your narrative is written in sports based off of big moments in front of the primetime lights.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just look at it. I mean, Cam Ward had a great day as a quarterback. I mean,
No one's going to talk about it. No one's going to
no
talk.
one cares. No one cares.
Yeah, he was fighting the whole way, and I was talking with you about like hero ball, right? And
Mhm.
does Cam Ward just go out there and just try to play hero ball? And he kind of had to, and it had some positive effect. He just needs more players around him. That's all there
For
really
sure.
is to it. I mean,
Absolutely.
Tony is it Tony Pollard? Yeah,
Tony Pollard.
Pollard.
Yeah. Mhm.
He was fine several years ago, but I mean, like, I think he's at the end of his run. Spears didn't show me anything. The offensive line didn't show anything to me, and they were relying on some sort of undrafted free agent being their best wide receiver. Strange story about that team, but let's go back to our team and let's talk about something that I asked both you and Nathan Savage, and that's the running game. Do we see a focus on Kenneth Walker? Boy, oh boy, I think we saw a huge focus on Kenneth Walker Sunday.
Well, I would argue that a bit. I mean, what we saw was major production by Kenneth Walker, right? I
Hmm.
mean,
Yeah.
but he only had 11 carries, right? And he did. I think he caught the ball out of the backfield like 3 times, but 11 carries for 71 yards. That's 6.5 a clip. Like that's production. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And so we
Yeah.
did talk about this, where it's not so much about how many carries. It's you know the good carries. Are you getting the good carries? Are you making something with it when you get the ball in your hands? And that's what they did. Zach Charbonnet, 6 carries only, 35 yards, 5.8 a clip. Like our top 2 running backs both carried for well over 5 yards a carry. So I mean, and that's the kind of running, so again, running back by committee, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, no, when you see Kenneth Walker with the ball in his hands doing good things, you almost like, oh, there we go. There's Ken. Now they're giving him the ball, but they kind of just gave it to him the same way they always do. 11 carries in the day.
I feel like maybe they went to the passing game with Kenny Walker a little bit more. He had that one pop where uh, I forget how many yards it was. It was over 20
Yeah,
because
it
it
was a
was an
big one.
explosive play. Yeah, it was a big play. Like you said, getting 7 yards per clip on the ground. Seems like there's a little more focus that I didn't see in the Rams game.
Yeah, I mean, again, total touches though. 14. That's with the passes. That's what the reason. He only had he only had 3 catches. So,
Yeah.
but I mean his overall he had 100 yards, 100 yards of total offense at Kenneth Walker. So, again, it was every time you went to him, it worked out well. You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah.
it skews it a little bit, you know what I mean?
I guess also you got to look at like the stronger opponent last week, right?
Right, exactly. So, but I mean, it was good. If when it works, it works, and nobody cares how it works as long as it works. You know what I mean?
You said on Saturday, our pregame show, you wanted to see more out of Shaheed, right? We saw more in the return game. Didn't see anything in the passing game. A little
Nothing.
disappointed.
I'm trying to not be because what I would not want to see is you know Seattle
Forcing it, maybe.
forcing him into the
Okay.
game plan and screwing stuff up, right? Like we mentioned before, back early this season when they were sticking, what's our young quarterback's name?
Milrow.
Jalen Milrow, sticking him in there, trying to run, little gadgets with him, and we ended up fumbling
Mhm.
the ball and stuff like that. So, KISS method, right? Keep it simple and let the guy fall in organically. Let's not force anything. I think it'll come. So yeah, but I do want to see it because I know that the potential is there. And I think the potential for it to be very explosive is just right there waiting in the wing. And I think we'll get there. So I'm just like, all right, well, we'll get there. Maybe next week. Maybe next week.
Yeah. We found out pretty close to game time that Jaron Reed was not going to be available. This guy, Brandon Pilley, he came up kind of big. I saw the back of his jersey a lot during the game, and I kind of wonder, do we have something there, or was it just against a poor opponent, poor offensive line?
Well, Peely's made some plays all year long. I think what game was it? He had a big stop in the backfield. I can't remember which game it was, but yeah, no, we've been hearing Peely's name, consistently, for a guy whose name we weren't like. Who was that guy? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
yeah, right. So he's making the most out of his opportunities, and they seem to be coaching him up good, during the week. Yeah, I'm loving it, and I hope that he continues to grow and ends up being a diamond in the rough, a guy we didn't expect, and maybe not even intended, but ends up being a great player for us.
Not to sound like a broken record, but Connor O'Toole, linebacker, another guy, Ty Okada, right? Drake Thomas. There are some names that just keep popping up that you and I and all of you out there, I don't care how big a Seahawks fan you are, you did not know who Ty Okada was.
Did not know.
And I scour those, like preseason rosters and I look for diamonds in the rough. And I was not, yeah, Drake Thomas, Ty Okada. I was not thinking of any of these guys. Brandon Pilley, none
I
at
am
all.
very, very, very high on Drake Thomas. That guy is flying around the field. I think he had 10 total tackles on
Yeah,
Sunday. I mean, he's everywhere. He hits hard. He's shooting the gaps. He's hitting guys in the backfield. I mean, yeah, he's making plays in the secondary. I mean, yeah, the guy is just good. I'm really high on him. Ty Okada and everybody else, Brandon Peely as well. But I'm really liking Drake Thomas out there. He just seems to be everywhere. You're just seeing number 42 all over the field.
can't remember if it was you or Nathan that told me this felt like 2013 or 2012, I guess, because I remember back when Richard Sherman was brought in a game, and I'm like, oh God, we're putting in fifth rounders now. And then, Doug Baldwin gets in the game. I'm like, oh God, undrafted free agents coming in. It's all falling apart. And we got some rookie quarterback, and this is where, yeah, this is not too dissimilar because at the beginning of the season, I'm like, journeyman quarterback. Okay, whatever. Who's Ty Okada? I don't know who this is. Josh Jobe, undrafted free agent out of Miami. And I swear, like McDonald just knows how to pick them, or maybe it's Snyder, or both.
Yeah. We might be witnessing another perfect marriage like we had with Snyder and Pete Carroll. We got this defensive minded coach. Pete Carroll was a defensive minded coach. Paired up with John Snyder, with a fresh look, right? Now, maybe I was very much against the exit of Pete Carroll, but here we have again. Is it rinse and repeat? You bring in another defensive minded coach with a little more of a new age look about it.
Mhm.
And it's right up John Snyder's alley. And here we go again. Defense looks great. I think the difference this time is we are offensively more effective in the passing game as opposed to before we were. It was definitely about the run, you know. But yeah, no, the pass, the game, the offense is scoring enough points to win games. Defense is holding other teams down for the most part. This looks like a team. Only thing I haven't seen is the ugly wins. That's what we used to, that old Seahawk team, just previous Seahawk team. You know, you didn't realize it in the moment because we hadn't risen to that station yet, right? But a lot of those games, you know, we were winning with field goals, you know, were separating us from the opponent, you know, and, you know, but you end up winning 12, 13 games and you're like, oh, we're a really good team.
Yeah, I guess, let's see, an ugly win would have been against the Texans, but I guess that was another example where we had the chokehold on and we just kind of let up, right?
Sure, sure. That was overtime. That was when Richard Sherman ran up, got the pick six, right?
No, 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 I'm talking about this year. I'm talking about this
This
year.
year. Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I thought we
No,
were calling back to yesterday.
no, 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 no. No, no. We had a ton of those, character building wins. But this year, the character building wins that could have been, and I'm talking about the Foreigners, the Tampa,
Years.
and of course the Rams. Those are ones that we were in it. And yes, it'd be kind of nice to see those turn into W's. And that's what would make us a Super Bowl, favorite. Right now, we got to see that.
Sure.
By the way,
Yeah.
oh, good.
I think that to your point, even though we did drop those games, in each of them, we were in it right up to the end. You know, the opportunity was there for us to win the game with the ball in our hand, you know, so there's value there. But I'll say this. I said after the Rams game, or just before the Rams game, I said, you know, win or lose, I don't think Seattle loses again before we see the Rams again.
Yeah,
So,
could
you know
be.
what I mean? So we beat Tennessee, we got Minnesota, and then we have who Minnesota, shoot, who's next? Tennessee,
Atlanta,
Atlanta,
Atlanta.
and is there one more and then the Rams, or is that the Rams next?
I think it's 4 games. Yeah, I think it's the Rams after that.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, the games are winnable, right? And so if we can get out of those games, build that confidence, go out there and really, you know, run some people into the ground, and that's confidence building. Go back against the Rams again, and you know, let's show them what we have this time, and correct the errors that we had before. And I mean, shoot, just Darnold, just throw 2 picks this time. The game's over.
Yeah.
We win. Yeah.
God, I gotta tell you, I watched both the damn Monday night game tonight, and I watched last night the frickin' Rams, and just the arrogance and the nonsense that these two, like, they're basically. I hate it. I hate
Yeah.
them, Rob.
They're easy to hate. They make it very easy for us to hate them, and it's, you know, they always just come up smelling like a rose for some reason. I saw earlier tonight. Christian McCaffrey had a big fumble. The ball rolled 10 yards, 10 maybe 15, 12 yards, whatever, down the field, and 2 or 3 different Carolina Panthers had a shot at it, and the Niners ended up falling on it. It's like, come on, Brock Purdy threw 3 picks.
Yeah.
You know, almost through 4, and they just, again, it is the Carolina Panthers. I get it. But the Panthers have had the audacity to win some pretty impressive games this year. And then when we need him to help us out, to do something for us, you know, they don't want to show up. But yeah,
Yeah,
and then the Rams, they're just good.
yeah. Of all the games Carolina shouldn't have won but won, tonight couldn't have been one of those.
Right,
Like,
right. Show up. Yeah, unbelievable.
what's gonna happen if we end up going 12 wins, 13 wins, and we can't get past the wild card?
You know what? The way that the playoff tree is shaping up, it's a very real reality. You
We're
know,
screwed. We are, yeah,
yeah, it's unfortunate. We're gonna win, like you said, possibly 12 games. You know, a 12-win wild card team and knocked out in the first because there's just so much. There's so many good teams. Like, I just,
yeah.
you know, we're first of all, it looks like we're going to send 3 teams this year. You know,
AFC
if it goes
West,
the way, right?
yeah.
So we potentially going to see the Niners and or the Rams in the postseason. So yeah, that's
Yeah, and if we don't get them, we might get the Lions, or
well, you know what? At this point, I should say the Lions might be a preferable matchup. I mean, they just
Yeah,
got beat
yeah.
by the Giants.
You're right. I think I'd prefer that, to be honest.
Yeah, the Giants or the Lions from a couple years ago looked unbeatable almost, but now, it looks like they've kind of fallen back down to earth, which is great. We'll see what they do on Thanksgiving. But yeah, it's the NFC West is the NFC best again.
Nathan's got these weird stats. I don't know what kind of spreadsheets or databases he has access to, but he said something to the effect that we have the best special teams in football. I might have to say after that punt return, maybe we need to reassess or maybe kick some people in the backside because that was despicable.
It was very frustrating to watch that, only because when you look at, okay, your defense is playing good, your offense is playing good.
Mhm.
Why can't we get all three phases playing good at the same time? Like, why does
Right.
when one thing didn't look great, the week before, or the other thing didn't look great the week before, you fix that up, you didn't lose the other thing, but you lose that one. It's like, oh, come on, there has to be something not working, and then you give up that punt return. That was a big play, a big punt return for them. So, or was it a kick return? Punt return or kick return?
It was a
Punt
punt
return, right?
return. Yeah.
Punt return.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was huge. That really, lit a fire under that Texans team and kept them in the game. If he didn't get that punt return, we probably, stop them before they get anywhere. And we probably have a chance to put that game away. But let
Okay.
him in the door.
I think you're like me. You still have a hard time letting go that Tennessee is from Houston. So they're not the Texans, they're the Titans.
What I say?
You said the Texans.
I said Texans. Oh,
I do it all the time. Don't feel bad. I do it all the freaking time because they both have that light blue,
yeah,
and they both have been kind of good, but have never won the whole thing.
right.
And no, I get them mixed up as well. But anyway, getting back to the special teams,
It's like you with Tyrese Knight.
can't do it. I've decided to give up. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm just going to call him Mr. Knight at this point.
Mister,
No, that's it. I'm just calling him Mr. Knight at this point.
can't do it.
So I can't do the other one. But that punt returner DIKE, something like that. Yeah, you got 90 yards, and I swear that's one of those times where I wish I was there in person because I would have liked to seen where it broke down. And I haven't been able to find any clips on that. And on TV, you can't really see what happens, 5 yards out of frame. One of the reasons why I like going to games, but it whatever it was, somebody had to have made a mistake. That it couldn't have been.
For sure. I haven't seen like the all 22 myself, but what it looks like from what the vantage you could get is that just on the gunner on that side just failed to set an edge kind of, and so when he kind of came up and then he made that cut to the outside, they had a wall there for him, and he was able to get around the corner there. If the gunner gets pushed out of the way or gets sucked inside, you have that cut to get to the edge there, and once you get there, it's tough. Once you get it down the side, get going down the sideline, you have a convoy. It's tough to get the guy. So I think it was just the gunner just failing to set that edge over there and slow him down, and he had a head of steam, and it was over at that point.
I still feel like it could have been the gunner. I feel like there might have been other things at play too. But sometimes you just got to tip your hat and say that guy's pretty damn fast. DK kind of lit us up throughout the entire game.
DK, he can run a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he definitely made his presence felt. And all more power to him. I think he had five catches for 44 yards and a touchdown, and he was great in the return game. So yeah, he definitely lit us up. But fortunate for us, one player can't do it by himself,
Yeah,
and
true.
we handled the rest of the game.
All right, let's look forward to next week. We play the Vikings, 1 o'clock game Pacific here in Seattle. And what are your general vibes? How are you vibing about this?
Well, the Vikings are not good. So
That's
that
one way to put it. Yeah.
yeah. So that makes me gives me a bit of you know calm, if you will.
Mhm.
I think we go into this game. I don't expect it to be much different than this Tennessee game. I would like to see it. I'd like to see a whooping if we could. But no, just want to go out there, see us go out there, play, good football like we did this past week, beat a team that we should beat at home, all the reasons in the world to go out there and knock out a team that's really, reeling at this point. And I think Vegas has us as 9.5 point favorites. Let's go out there and give it to them and move on to the next. Not look past them, just one week at a time, and go play good football.
Yeah, I do wonder if like this last game against the Titans, if we look past them a little bit. But that is still a solid defense that the Vikings has. And that has me a little bit concerned. I am just hopeful that their quarterback room is in such shambles that we can take advantage of it.
One can only hope, right?
Yeah. Well, do you have any prediction for that game?
I am going to your point, that defense is decent. So is Tennessee's, right? I'm gonna go ahead and bring down my point total this week because I said 33-10.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, and we got to 30-10. I was feeling very confident, but I'm gonna go ahead and say this one's I'll just let's call it 26-13.
Okay.
Not as I think it'll be a convincing game. The one caveat I say that what Seattle has to do, which we certainly didn't do against the Rams, and we arguable against the Titans, not the
There
Texans,
we
the
go.
Titans,
There we go.
is getting that start early. I want to see
Yeah.
us get score 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. That's what I want to see. If we see 2 first quarter touchdowns, that's where the opposing team starts having to change their game plan, throw the ball a little more, then the defense can pin their ears back and go get the quarterback, and that's how it works well for us. We can score twice in the first quarter. I think that bodes well for us. That's what I would like to see this week.
I would love to see that too. I'm predicting that we get our points in 28, and it's something like a 28-17 win. I think the I think 9 points is about exactly where it's going to be, because I think, like you said, if we can jump on them early, I don't think their quarterback situation is going to get them back in the game. The thing that would suck is if we let them hang around, because that's going to get back. That's going to bite us one of these days.
For sure, for sure. And what would suck even more is what we used to do, unfortunately, is let backup quarterbacks cook us.
Light us up. Yeah.
It's been like that sometimes where backup quarterbacks come in and we just get cooked by them. And it's like, we thought that this was going to be our advantage. What's going on here?
Yeah, that's why I kind of did not like the idea of facing a Jacoby Brissett a couple weeks ago. I'm
Mhm.
like, this is exactly like the Seahawks to let this guy
Get cooked
light
by
us
the
up.
backup.
So, are they going to play McCarthy, or is this going to be that other guy from University of Minnesota?
I believe that McCarthy is still out, but I don't know if they've made the official designation yet.
Okay. Well, we'll see. All right. Well, we're ending our show here on our usual shout outs. And I'm going to go ahead and get this rolling. I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to former NBA player Wazoo Cougar and Seattle Supersonic, uh, uh, James Donaldson. I was going to say a different name, James Donaldson. That's who it is. We had a really good interview with him this last Saturday. Please check out that interview on YouTube here.
Awesome, awesome. I am gonna give a shout out to don't throw up, to my mom,
That's
who
that's
just bought
fine.
a house over there in Murrieta, California, in the Inland Empire. So congratulations to buying another house. And I haven't even been there yet, so I'll be going there for Christmas to go see it. It's got a pool. It's got a pool and a hot tub, so I can't wait.
Yeah, long as there's no bottled water, we know you're safe.
There's no we know large bodies of water I'm okay with. I don't have to try and carry them, right? It's the packages of small amounts of water that I have trouble with.
Wonderful. Well, I want to thank you, Rob English, the Southwest Seahawk, for joining us. And on behalf of the Seattle Sports Union and myself, Abraham DeWeese, we'll see you guys next time.
Go Hawks.